What if your health checkups are actually doing more harm than good? Every year, millions of seniors undergo routine tests, believing they're protecting themselves. But what if I told you that some of these checkups could actually lead you closer to surgery, cancer, or even a stroke? Shocked? You should be. New studies reveal that up to 37% of tests in seniors result in unnecessary treatments, complications, and even lifelong side effects. Today, we're uncovering 5 health checkups you should avoid after 70, backed by science, and one of them might just blow your mind. Stick around to learn why these tests could be more dangerous than you think. We just mentioned how some routine tests can actually do more harm than good. Well, let's start with one that seems pretty harmless at first, the bone density scan. You've probably heard of it. It's a simple, quick test that measures your bone strength. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But here's where it gets tricky. After the age of 70, this scan often does more harm than help. The bone density scan, or DEXA scan, is commonly used to detect osteoporosis, a condition where bones become fragile and prone to fractures. But here's the shocking truth. Most seniors, especially women, get results showing lower bone density, even when there's no real risk of fractures. Why? Because bone loss is a natural part of aging, just like wrinkles or gray hair. But rather than accepting it as a normal part of the aging process, many doctors jump to conclusions and push medication, like bisphosphonates, that can have serious side effects. Now, I'm not just throwing out random concerns here. Studies show that treating mild bone loss in seniors with medication has little to no effect on actually preventing fractures. In fact, a study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that bisphosphonates only reduced fracture risk by 0.3% over 5 years. That's not life-saving by any means, but what it does come with are serious side effects, including jawbone death and digestive issues. Let me tell you about Bill, a 78-year-old retired school teacher who had a DEXA scan after his routine checkup. Despite having no falls or pain and walking daily, his scan came back showing osteopenia, a mild reduction in bone density. His doctor immediately started him on medication. Within 3 months, Bill developed severe reflux and jaw pain. By the time he came to us, he hadn't been able to enjoy his daily walks. We took him off the meds, started him on vitamin D, weight-bearing exercises, and a calcium-rich diet. And within a year, he was back walking daily, feeling stronger than ever. So, if you're over 70 and not dealing with bone fractures or falls, think twice before rushing into a bone density scan. Instead, focus on lifestyle changes like strength training, balance exercises, and proper nutrition. Studies show that these can reduce fractures by over 20%. And trust me, it's a much safer option than jumping into medications that could cause more harm than good. But hold on, because the next test on our list could actually lead you to something even scarier: brain surgery. Let's dive into that next. Now that we've seen how one simple scan can lead to unnecessary treatments, let's talk about another common test, the brain MRI. This is often ordered when seniors start experiencing forgetfulness or confusion, natural signs of aging that many people panic about. The fear of dementia or Alzheimer's often triggers a brain MRI. But here's the kicker. MRIs often don't give the answers you're hoping for. In fact, they could do more harm than good. Most MRIs on people over 70 simply show age-related changes in the brain, like slight shrinkage or white matter spots. These are completely normal in older adults and don't indicate any serious conditions. But here's where it gets wild. Once these spots are found, it can trigger a chain reaction of unnecessary follow-up tests, panic, and even surgery, none of which improve memory or cognitive function.
Let's take Carol, a 72-year-old retired librarian. She came in for a checkup, worried about her forgetfulness. She'd been misplacing her keys more often and forgetting names here and there, but nothing alarming. Her doctor ordered an MRI, which showed some white matter changes. Carol was immediately thrown into a panic, convinced she had dementia. She stopped driving, withdrew from social activities, and became more anxious by the day. But when we reassessed her with a standard cognitive test, her score was well within the normal range. We explained that the MRI results were completely age-appropriate and helped her focus on lifestyle interventions like better sleep, hydration, and cognitive exercises. Within 3 months, her memory improved and her anxiety was gone. The moral here? Unless there's something severe going on, like seizures, personality changes, or rapid decline in function, an MRI for mild memory loss might be doing more harm than good. A much better first step is a simple cognitive screening test. It's quick, cheap, and can give you a much clearer picture of your mental health without the panic or unnecessary tests. But here's the twist. The next test on our list could end up causing serious issues for your heart. Let's talk about that next. All right, we've covered the brain MRI, and now let's dive into one of the most common tests that seniors often undergo, the cardiac stress test. This test is typically ordered when someone complains of fatigue, chest tightness, or just not feeling like they used to. The idea is to monitor how your heart reacts while you're exercising, either on a treadmill or with medication that simulates exercise. It's meant to spot blocked arteries. Sounds straightforward, right? Well, not quite. For seniors over 70, this test can be problematic, especially if they don't have clear symptoms of heart disease. The problem lies in the accuracy of the test. Studies show that the false positive rate for stress tests in people over 70 can be as high as 40%. This means that up to 40% of people may be told they have a problem when they actually don't. And when that happens, the next steps, like angiograms, stent placements, or bypass surgeries, can be risky, unnecessary, and offer no real improvement in survival or quality of life. Take Ted, a 77-year-old retired firefighter. He stayed active by walking daily, but during a checkup, he mentioned feeling a bit tired when walking up hills. His doctor scheduled a stress test just to be sure. The test results were unclear, so he was sent for a catheterization, a procedure that checks for blockages in the arteries. A mild narrowing was found, and a stent was placed. That night, Ted had a reaction to the contrast dye used in the test and ended up with kidney problems. He spent 6 days in the hospital and had to follow up with care for weeks. The fatigue he was dealing with never went away because it wasn't related to his heart at all. It was simply a matter of needing better hydration and more rest between meals. So, if you're over 70 and don't have classic symptoms like chest pain or shortness of breath during physical activity, a stress test might do more harm than good. A resting EKG or a coronary calcium scan could be a much safer and simpler option. These tests are less likely to push you into an unnecessary procedure, and they can still give you a good look at your heart's health. But hold on tight, because the next test on our list might just blow your mind. It's one that many seniors have undergone and is not always as safe as you think. By now, you're probably seeing a pattern. Some of the most common health checkups aren't always as safe as they seem. Next up on our list is a procedure that you've likely had multiple times, the colonoscopy. This test uses a long camera to examine your colon and screen for cancer. It's a routine procedure recommended to many seniors, but here's the truth. It's not always the best choice after age 70, and almost never recommended after age 75 unless there are specific symptoms.
The risks of colonoscopy increase with age. The preparation is tough, involving powerful laxatives that can lead to dehydration, dizziness, and even kidney issues. The sedation used during the procedure can also pose risks, particularly for older adults, potentially affecting brain function. But what's most surprising is the actual procedure itself. It can cause complications like bleeding, tears, and even heart rhythm disturbances during sedation. Let's talk about Julia, a 74-year-old retired accountant who had a colonoscopy after her new primary doctor insisted on it. She had no symptoms, no bleeding, no changes in stool, and no family history of colon cancer. Despite all that, her doctor urged her to get screened. During the procedure, a small polyp was found and removed, but things didn't go as planned. Later that night, Julia experienced intense abdominal pain and fainted. At the hospital, they discovered a bowel perforation, and Julia spent 9 days in recovery.
She lost 10 pounds and hasn't felt the same since. A study in JAMA Internal Medicine found that for every 1,000 colonoscopies performed on people over 75, only 2 lives were saved, but over 20 people experienced serious complications. That's a 10-to-1 risk-to-benefit ratio, and it doesn't even account for the fact that many of the polyps found are small, slow-growing, and unlikely to pose a serious risk. In these cases, removing them might actually do more harm than leaving them alone. Now we've reached the most overused, dangerous, and downright terrifying test on this list, the full-body CT scan. This scan is often marketed as a way to catch cancer early, and it's offered as part of executive health packages or preventive services in private clinics. The idea sounds good in theory. Scan your entire body, detect issues early, and save lives, right? But here's the horrifying truth. These scans do more harm than good, especially for seniors over 70. Full-body CT scans expose your body to high doses of ionizing radiation, which can trigger unnecessary follow-ups, biopsies, and even surgeries. The irony? There's zero evidence that these scans actually save lives in asymptomatic adults. In fact, studies show that the radiation from a single scan is equivalent to having 500 chest X-rays. A 2023 study in JAMA Internal Medicine found that these scans may be responsible for up to 5% of all cancers, which is as significant as alcohol consumption when it comes to cancer risk. Let me tell you about Steve, an 82-year-old retired teacher who felt great and was active in his community. He took part in a senior elite checkup at a private clinic where he was given a full-body CT scan. The scan showed a tiny 3mm nodule, and just like that, the panic began. He was referred to oncology, sent for a PET scan, and eventually underwent a needle biopsy. The result? The nodule was benign, but the biopsy collapsed part of his lung, causing him to be hospitalized for 2 months. All of this for a harmless spot that could have been left alone. Experts now strongly advise against using full-body CT scans for general screening in asymptomatic adults. The American College of Radiology is clear. There's no proven benefit, and the potential for harm is significant. If you're experiencing symptoms like unexplained weight loss, coughing up blood, or noticeable swelling, targeted imaging might make sense. But scanning the whole body with no specific focus is like searching for treasure with a landmine detector. You might find something, but the consequences could be far worse than what you were trying to avoid. The safer, smarter approach is to listen to your body. If you feel healthy, stick to regular checkups with your primary doctor and only go for tests that are clearly needed. The truth is, your health is too valuable to be risked on fear-driven screenings that might leave you worse off than where you started.
Have you or someone close to you ever gone through complications from a medical test or treatment that turned out to be unnecessary? We want to hear your story. Drop a comment below. Thanks for tuning in.